And welcome to my live reading for this week. Trying a new thing, and you may be able to help me out with it over in the chat. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me go over and look at my page and see exactly how this looks to y'all. Because, oh, you know what? I see what is wrong with this one. It is getting a reflection that I don't want it to have. Ah, here we go. Maybe that's going to look better, huh? Okay. So anyway, we are hopefully live with this particular reading. I think it's live. How this anyway, looks. I'm trying out to y'all. Gotta turn that off so it doesn't get because the sound
you know what?
I'm trying
what is
out
wrong with this one.
A new camera setup. It looks like it's working. We're live, so I'm just going to keep streaming if you don't mind. So what I've got going on here, I'll show it to you, is I've got this camera right in front of me, and then I've got that camera right over there on the side of me. And yeah, so that's I'm experimenting to. Oh, you know what? Let's turn off Mr. Green Jeans here. There we go. Less light down there. Not as necessary, you know. Okay. And boy, from that camera, I do look washed out, huh? Anyway, what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna do a little bit of reading from a work in progress, actually. This is a work that I am in the process of working on, and I'm actually still writing it. And so this is a story that I'm working on. It's called Shadow of the Bastard King, as you could see by the title there in the Word document that you're looking at. Matter of fact, you know what? I need to go over here, and I need to also add that Word document, add existing Word. Okay. Bam! There you go. Now you've got it right there covering my face. Well, how about that? So, and I do this so you guys can, read along and see just how clumsy I can be sometimes. Let's see. Let's do this with read mode. There we go. A little bit cleaner to look at for ya. And with that, on that note, oh, my foot, ouch. Let me scooch this guy a little bit smaller. And just went over to Best Buy and got myself some a new sound system, or half of a new sound system for my living room, and did a little bit too much walking, it would appear. And my brokey legs, thanks to that guy right there, a little bulldog. And, yeah, my legs are a little bit. Well, let's just say that if you try to run me down to mug me, I'm not going to run. I'm going to stop. And you probably won't like me when you meet me. Anyway, let's do some reading. This is a story, like I was starting to say, this is a story that I've been working on for quite a while, actually. I wrote it initially as a short story for an anthology about a werewolf hunter. Tales of the Werewolf Hunter, I think is what it was called. And it's pretty cool. I'll put the link to it in the chat after this, or in the description down below, as they say, on those podcasts where people actually try to make money. I'm just here to have fun. And anyway, this is a book that I started writing. I wrote it as a short story for my friend Brian Easton, who wrote the series called Autobiography of a Werewolf Hunter, and I really enjoyed his story. I don't really get into monster books. I've narrated a bunch of, horror stuff, some monster stories. Typically, I just kind of go, okay, whatever, I'll narrate it. Dude, Brian's book, the anthology, or Autobiography of a Werewolf Hunter, really, really amazing stuff. Great book. Even if you don't like monster stuff, it's more like a general thriller where the bad guys happen to be demonic werewolves. Anyway, we got to, he contacted a bunch of his fellow writer friends and asked us to write a short story based in his universe. And so that's what I did. And I'm basing it in his universe, in my universe, because I'm actually working on a different series that's totally unrelated, but there's a character in there named Argon, son of Ur, who is the main character of this entire series I'm going to be writing. And in this case, he meets up in Brian P. Easton's world, or begins to, and you get a description. I don't know. whatever. I'm going to try to do this reading. It'll be a relatively serious reading, relatively speaking, but we'll see how that goes. Coffee. Okay. Now, let me move a wire out of my visual line of sight here. There we go. Shadow of the Bastard King. There is much I have to say, but at this point in our professional relationship, I will leave all judgment up to you. I will not attempt to explain what you are about to read, other than to say it is still being delivered to me in both digital and physical formats, with translations in multiple modern languages accompanying in digital format. The agent claims that it is authentic, and the story is very true. That said, I believe it will no doubt be found, at least in most parts, to be utter nonsensical fantasy fiction. I'll leave the texts as they are, passing no judgment, nor attempting to guide your mind down a particular path. I will continue to put these stories out per your request as the translated texts are delivered to our offices. The man claims to be a witness to many of the events herein. As you read these stories, you may be expected to suspend your disbelief. To quote the apparent author, carefully judge the eyes of those around you on the street, for there are monsters about. The rights holder. Not every... What? Okay, let me start. Okay, get back in a serious mode. That was a... Woo, man, that went fast. Bink, bunk, bunk. Oh, okay, I see what I got to do. I put it in reading mode, and it does that, and I didn't realize that. Okay, but now I realize it, and so I'm not going to go whoop, whoop, like that anymore. So, here we go. Back to being serious. Think serious. Okay? Not every violent man is evil, and not every evil man must always be that way. In time, every man has thoughts of and commits both violence and evil, although perhaps at different levels of severity. In all of my years on this earth, no mortal human that has ever lived falls outside that general stereotype of the species. I have seen a lot of good men rise and fall. I have also seen a lot of evil men rise and stay risen, right up to the often sudden end. Mistake. That, by the way, when I narrate, when I make a mistake and I catch myself make the mistake, I make this sound. And actually, you know what? I need to turn... No, I didn't have that on. Oh, man. I didn't have Audition turned on. Because... And that would show you why I do that. Matter of fact, I'm going to start Adobe Audition here. And what this is going to do is put the little recording window up. So please excuse me while I iron out these technical difficulties. Technical difficulties. Sorry. Okay, and we'll just go. Oh, no. Bing. Escape. Ding, ding. Shift Control N in Adobe Audition makes a new title, and we shall say this will be called Argon 1 Live. Bing, live! It's Saturday night! Okay, so, bing. So now it's recording, and I'm just going to minimize this in the corner, and you guys can keep watching that there. Isn't that pretty cool? And you know what else I'm going to do? I added it. I got to add it to this one, and let's say plus, and I'm doing this. Matter of fact, here I'll make a plus so you can see. Oh no, I won't do that. We'll do window capture, and we'll do add existing, and we'll say audition, and we'll say okay, and then we'll go to this one, and we'll do the same thing, and we'll say this, and we'll say this. Sorry, I'm talking to myself, but you can listen because I don't mind me listening to being listened to by you. Doesn't that sound like a Carpenter song from the 70s? I don't mind listening to you, listening to me. Anyway. Ding. Oh, my goodness. That's rather large, just like the other one was. Yes. Let's make that rather not so large. Rather. You like my shirt? Oh, can you see? Oh, yeah, you're on that one. You like my shirt? Star-Lord. I like Star-Lord. That was a cool show. I haven't... Yeah, I did. I saw I saw the two of them. I'm very backwards on movies and stuff. I have... For like 25 years, I was a youth minister, and I worked. I worked 2 full-time jobs plus my ministry, and I missed a lot of TV. So if I make cultural references to something, don't necessarily expect them to be in the same century. But I think it's funny anyhow. Anyway, okay, so we're going back to... Oh, did this pause? It should still be recording. There we go. Oh, because I minimized it, it stops moving in the picture. That's a good thing to know. So we got to leave that up while we go. Okay, now here we go. We're going to start recording again in a serious tone of voice. In a world. Okay, here we go. I'm going to pick it back up with the not every... Let's see, can I like point down there to the line that I'm doing? Right there. Oh, okay. Anyway. Not every violent man is evil, and not every evil man must always be that way. In time, every man has thoughts of and commits both violence and evil, although perhaps at different levels of severity. In all of my years on this earth, no mortal human that has ever lived falls outside that general stereotype of the species. I've seen a lot of good men rise and fall. I've also seen a lot of evil men rise and stay risen, right up to their often sudden end. Think Caligula, Hitler, Mao, or the entire horde of the ISIS. Me. And that, you can see down here. Let me stretch this guy back out. Whoop. See where that big line is? That's that me that I just did. Whenever I do an error, make a mistake, I mark it like that. And I mark it like that. I like it like that. Come on, little double arrow. Bing! There we go. So I could shrink that back down to manageable. And poke him over in the corner. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Anyway, so I did that. And then, of course, when I make that mistake in real life, when I'm narrating for an audiobook, I actually stop and do what's called a punch and roll, which is where you stop, put your cursor before the mistake, and then you click record, and it goes 3, 2, 1, foo, and then you go. But I'm not going to do that this time because I'm live, baby. Think Caligula, Hitler, Mao, or the entire horde of ISIS. The kind of men whose insatiable appetites for violence and perversion bring thousands, millions, even tens of millions to the grave and sorrow for no more reason than the tyrant fancied a change of view out of their bathroom window. For a man like that to change their being is an uncommon thing. Those few of the brotherhood of evil that do turn toward the light seldom survive both the shock to their own systems and the animus of their former brethren. Those that do turn that strength... Those that do turn the strength that built their empires into tearing them down brick by brick, stone by stone, head by head. They are relentless in the hunt and merciless in their quest to purge the world of the evil they previously sowed. I know such a man. Karzai Gyasi. The story. Memory of pain. Terror. Febrile terror. Splits marrow from bone, rends soul from flesh. Violent tremors churned up through the soles of the man's feet. The pavement undulated like waves on the ocean. Soil and stone rose and fell in a liquid dance. Structures collapsed, crushing the bodies of people beneath massive stone blocks, megaliths thought unmovable only moments earlier. A scream, sheer... A scream, shrill, ear-splitting. The screech of steam bursting from the earth. A woman enveloped in a geyser, mouth seared wide open, wider than possible. her eyes stretched like on a comic's mask, then burst in puffs of vapor and vanished as the breath of the goddess consumed her. The skin and flesh of her face sloughed off, deconstructing her layer by layer in a ghastly mockery of creation. Flash-cooked muscle and sinew stretched and snapped, no longer able to bear the burden. The corpse of the woman collapsed, a grotesque offering of flesh. Another rumble, deeper. The subterranean undulations abruptly ceased. Silence. The world sucked in a deep breath, held it. The man lurched, felt the earth drop beneath him. An uncomfortable tickle gripped his belly as if he were falling a great distance unexpectedly. The motion stopped with a jolt, knocking him off his feet. He righted himself, regaining his regal posture. The western mountains were suddenly far taller than they had been only moments before. Far, far taller. The eastern horizon seemed to twist upon itself, rolling up as if it were a scroll. Rolling up as if it were a scroll loosed from its weighted end. The sea rose impossibly fast, growing into a monstrous wave that devoured every ship in its path, sucking up the massive vessels whole as if they were puffs of air. In the space of a breath, the wall of water rose so high it blocked the late afternoon sun, casting a shadow that stretched toward the mighty city like the clawed grasp of a mountain troll. Lub-dub. In the space between heartbeats, the world exploded. Lub-dub. A flash of pain, asphyxiation, crushing agony. Lub. The judgment begins. From the Chronicle of the Lone Man. End of the First Age. I'm going to stop there for just a moment, pause in the reading. This, like I said, this is a work in progress. You guys are actually witnessing. Oh, wait, I'm on that camera. You guys, and you guys too, you guys are actually witnessing a first ever public. This is the first time anyone in the world has ever seen that scene but me. Haha. And the leprechauns that live in my basement. But that's because they helped write it. Anyway, I'd be curious, for those of you that are listening, if what you thought of that little piece. Now, there's some more stuff that's coming in a second. But I'm trying to make sure that I don't just plain confuse people, if you know what I mean. So anyway, let me have another sip of my caffeine. And so that was, as it were, the prologue. And now back to a serious bent way. Where, O grave, is your sting? Oh, I don't like the sound of that one. Let's do that one again. Ready? Where, O grave, is your sting? Argon, son of son of Urdom, son of Ha'atem, father of all, head of the first age, the man who thought he was God. Argon am I. Oops. Argon I am. The curse was spoken against me. The mighty one, sword of El, spoke the curse. Argon, son of son of Urdom, son of Ha'atem, Argon blood drinker, who laid waste peoples, who destroyed nations, who slew your brothers. In violence you ruled, so violence shall rule you. You showed mercy to none, so shall you never find mercy. As you put the sons of Kobareus and Pharaoh to the flame, as you tasted their flesh between your teeth, so shall your sons be put to the flame, their flesh torn in the teeth of your enemies before your eyes. You, Argon, son of will not see the end of death until the Eternal One declares it. As you laid waste your enemies in the first age of man, so through the ages of the sons of men will you be laid waste. Though you die, your soul will not cross the sacred river to your fathers. Your eyes will yet open in the second age of men. 100 generations will see the judgments against you. Age to age you will run. Age to age you will find no refuge. Your pride will burn your flesh, Argon, son of Ur. Argon I am. Argon the accursed. Argon the ever-dying. Ooh. And now we're getting to the real part of the story here. So that was like the prologue and the introduction, and then that last bit was, of course, Argon speaking in the tone of someone thousands of years ago, before the flood of Noah. And now the rest of the story. Or actually, the rest of the first part of the story, the chapter. How long? Oh, man, this is already... I have so much fun doing this stuff. Anyway, I'm going to read this first thing, and I do in the comments, in the chat that's gone beside, which I forgot to turn on that chat. I don't even know if anybody's chatting with me. Is anybody chatting with me? Let's see, is anyone chatting out there to chat with me? And no. Oh, but that's okay. Because I wouldn't be able to see it anyway. I got to read. Anyway. Shadows of the Bastard King. City of Akkad, royal palace, 10th year of Sargon, bastard king of the plains. Shafts of sunlight streamed through the stone parapets, golden against the dust that swirled in my wake, kicked up by my boots as they scraped the dry, packed earth of the rampart. The royal city's wall rose to the height of a dozen men. 6 rods high and 2 thick, it had originally been built to half its current size. But the previous ruler of this land, Lugal-Zagezi, lacked the ambition to even think of something bigger. When Sargon took it and claimed himself king, he not only declared his intent to rule the entirety of the world, at least that world of which he knew, but set out to do so. Oh, I got to redo that sentence. Sorry about that. Matter of fact, I got to retype something in that sentence. I'll fix that. When Sargon took it and claimed himself king, he not only declared his intent to rule the entirety of the world, at least that part of the world which he knew, but set out to do so. He not only built up the walls immediately surrounding the palace grounds, but built a second outer wall encompassing the entire city of the capital. Oh, whoops. Ding, ding. Let's just delete that line. He not only built up the walls immediately surrounding the palace grounds, but built a second outer wall encompassing the entirety of the capital city of his growing empire. Stopping at a point looking due west toward the flow of the mighty Euphrates, I set my eyes in the direction from which I had come. In another time, my eyes would have seen lush forests, vegetation, beasts of every kind, birds and flying things, a beautiful, well-watered landscape full of life. The corporeal vision of the endless green of the Euphrates Valley, its present life as a bountiful pasture and fields. My mind's eye overlays the past, the before. I see it as it was in my day. My first days, that is. Gone are the vast cities, the highways, monuments, and edifices to man's splendor that had once covered this land as far as the eye could see. Excuse me for a second here. That, folks, is why you don't bring your cell phone into the booth. Let's see here. Stopping at a point... Oh, no. Gone are the... Okay, yeah. Gone are the vast cities, highways, monuments, and edifices to man's splendor that had once covered this land as far as the eye could see. Millions upon millions of men and beasts that once called this place home, gone forever, burned and crushed and washed away. Life vanished beneath the rocks and soil. All that remains of my world is the odd megalithic ruin, unable to be understood outside of their original, now vanished, context. And below the surface, patches of bubbling tar are all that remain to testify to the mass of humanity that once dwelt on this surface. We whose lives ended in terror, finally understanding that it was our own folly that killed us. I say us, for I died with them. I was their emperor. They are no more in this world. They are no more in this fleshly world. But I had dared to set my heart against the Creator, against the Father of all the gods, and his archangel laid a curse on me, that I would die and awaken, and die and awaken, for what already seems to me an eternity, but is, I fear, only just the beginning. While there was not given to me any sort of penance that would send me to the final death, I have yet found purpose. I've found a reason not only to continue in this constant cycle of dying, but to face this never-ending promise of pain willingly. For I hunt my own children. In the deep darkness of the past, an evil was done that ought never to have been In the deep darkness of the past, an evil... Oh, where'd it go? Okay. In the deep darkness of the past, an evil was done that ought never have been contemplated. I gave the command that man and beast be made as one, to build warriors, men of renown. But the progeny of those ancient demigods, experiments of their own, became over time nothing more than soulless monsters, despised by angels of darkness and light equally, the Nephilim. I am the father of giants. I am the hunter of demons. That's all you get for today. Anyway, does that make sense? Somebody write in the comments if you get a chance, if anybody watches this. Still, kind of starting out and stuff, but it's going, and it seems to be going very well. I love this story, by the way, is going to be set. The character Argon, I can give you a couple minutes of what Argon is about. This story is set in the early stages of humanity, of human civilization, back about 5,000, 6,000 years ago. And the pre-story, the preceding story, the backstory, as it were, that Argon is in, is he actually was the great emperor of the world prior to the flood of Noah. Maybe even the guy that caused the flood, if you know what I mean. Anyway, he, as the story mentioned there, is placed under a curse for the evil that he does, and it's not to pay penance so much, but as to undo what he did, the creation of the half-human, half-fallen angel, demonic beast, evil giant Nephilim. Anyway, Argon is going to be traipsing through history with his friend Karzai Gyasi, and they're going to set the world straight. If you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? I was looking at the wrong camera that entire time. I was making eye contact with you, the listener, as you were doing that. And yeah, it was ineffective eye contact, wasn't it? Just as ineffective as this eye contact, because I just realized I switched the camera again. There we go. Now I'm looking straight into your eyes. Hello, my darling. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Or the weekday, or weeknight, or weekend night day, or I hope you have the wonderful whatever. Bye. Before I go, check me out on www.basilsands.com. I have a lot of novels that I wrote as well as novels that I narrate. And I'd love for you to read my stories, particularly Ice Hammer, the latest series that I came out, hitting straight on with the national news, international news. I pray to God that it's only a story and that it never happens. I'll talk to you guys next week, right here, this same bat channel, this same bat time, 1 p.m. Alaska time, 2 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Eastern time, and 10 o'clock Greenwich Mountain time over there in the place where they have that funny accent. Goodbye.